Before sunrise on February 14th, 2000, a 9-year-old girl stepped into the wind and rain on Highway 18 outside Shelby, North Carolina. Multiple drivers saw her. When one turned back to help, she dashed into the dark. She never came home. Her name is Asha Degree. Tonight, we revisit the timeline, the landmark discovery of her backpack, and importantly, newer investigative threads that have brought a local family into public focus.
More than a year after Asha vanished, road crews unearthed her book bag along the same highway corridor, wrapped in plastic, containing items later reported to include a school library book and a T-shirt not recognized by her family. Those details keep investigators and the community asking, who moved that bag, and why? Yet, the most important question still lingers. What happened to Asha Degree?
What's the emergency?
No problem. All units are
I'm at the corner of Pleasant Hill and John Young Freeway.
East 18.
Sunday, February 13th, 2000. Church, home, early bedtime. A late-night power outage, then checks around 12:30 a.m. and 2:30 a.m. found the kids asleep. In the pre-dawn window, rough weather, low visibility. At least 2 motorists reported seeing a small child on NC 18. By morning, Asha was missing and a massive search began.
Early searches recovered small items along the corridor. The working theory that emerged, and still guides investigators, is that Asha left home on her own and was abducted afterward.
August 2001, Asha's book bag is found by maintenance workers off of Highway 18, roughly along the same route tied to her sightings. The wrapping and location suggest deliberate concealment, and they anchor many later investigative efforts to this corridor.
That's the spine of the case. A child on foot in a rural highway in a storm, then a year later, her belongings hidden farther up the same road.
Around 6:15 in the morning of February 14th, 2000, Asha Degree's parents wake up to find both the 9-year-old and her book bag gone. They filed a missing persons report shortly after.
Investigators at the time had reason to believe that she took some items with her out of the house and that she left the house and walked south on Highway 18 toward the city of Shelby.
Asha's dad told investigators he'd seen Asha in her bed around 2:30 that morning. Authorities said 2 truck drivers spotted a girl matching Asha's description around 4 a.m. on Highway 18.
The FBI, SBI, and Cleveland County Sheriff's Office have remained engaged across the years. In recent cycles, investigators publicly reiterated they believe Asha was killed, and they've pushed out new appeals and reward information.
In 2024 through 2025, search warrants and new activity brought attention to properties connected to the Dedmon family and to a vehicle discovery that echoes one of the long-discussed leads in this case. We'll cover those specifics shortly, with care and sources.
The evening of February 13th was a normal family day. Check in at 12:30 a.m. and the kids are still asleep. Between 3:45 and 4:15 a.m., a child is seen walking along NC 18 in a storm. When a motorist turns back, she runs into the tree line. The morning of February 14th, a missing person report is called in, and a large-scale search ensues.
In August of 2001, her book bag is recovered off Highway 18 in Burke County, wrapped and buried, and seized for analysis. That's the last confirmed physical link to Asha.
It's a connection that investigators keep returning to. Rural pull-offs, job sites, and changing land use that can hide or later reveal evidence.
It also frames the more recent searches. Properties connected to that corridor, or to people who lived or worked nearby between 2000 and 2001.
A long-standing public lead referenced a dark green, late 1970s Lincoln or Ford Thunderbird as a possible vehicle of interest in Asha's disappearance. In 2024 to 2025, authorities reported finding a green car on a property linked to the Dedmon family, described as similar to the car investigators had been looking for. That does not equal proof, but it is an obvious investigative intersection.
If an older green coupe rings a bell, who borrowed it, who owned it, where it sat, hang on to that thought. We'll share tip routes at the end.
Well, tonight we continue to follow developments in the Asha Degree disappearance case. Warrants just revealed today showing where law enforcement is focusing now. Asha was last seen February 14th of 2000 when she was just 9 years old. A year later, evidence belonging to Asha was found about 21 miles from where she was last seen. Now, last September, warrants revealed Connie and Roy Dedmon were listed as suspects. At this time, no one has been charged in the case, but now officials are sharing new details about the further involves the Dedmons, including potential confessions. WCNC Charlotte obtaining those documents just this afternoon. Tradisha, you've been combing through all of these for hours. What else can you tell us that came from this?
Well, Colin, these documents detail a friend of the Dedmons girls. Now, he says the 20-page detailed document, basically, according to what we saw, is the oldest daughter. Her name is Lizzie. The friend said that she was crying and allegedly making some serious confessions. It even goes even deeper, revealing a series of text messages between her and her sister.
In late 2024 and into 2025, investigators obtained and executed searches tied to properties connected to the Dedmon family. Local outlets reported law enforcement activity across multiple sites, including a Lincoln County parcel formerly owned by Roy Dedmon, and separate locations where a green car was recovered.
Search warrant affidavits summarized by local reporters also described seized cell phones from family members and referenced fresh witness information that helped build probable cause. Again, these are warrants, not verdicts. They justify searching and seizing, but not guilt.
From publicly available reporting, property links, authorities searched land once owned by Roy Dedmon and emphasized the current owner was not connected. The historic ownership period overlapped Asha's disappearance window. Vehicle discovery. Around the same time, a green car, similar to a previously publicized vehicle of interest, was found on another property tied to the family. Investigators have not announced definitive forensic results from that vehicle. Digital and phone seizures. Warrants led to the seizure of 3 cell phones from family members as investigators pursued new leads from a former acquaintance's account of events years later. Messaging after searches. Additional warrants describe text messages exchanged after a law enforcement search, part of why investigators sought further access to devices and records.
These points, taken together, explain why the family is part of the current public conversation. But it's crucial to note, no charges have been filed in connection with Asha's disappearance, and investigators have not publicly announced conclusive forensic ties from items seized or found during these searches.
The Dedmon family, through an attorney and a hired communications firm, has denied involvement and criticized rumor-driven narratives. Their attorney has said Roy Dedmon has been interviewed and denies any role in the case. A recent spokesman-led appearance likewise aimed to set the record straight. Presenting that denial alongside the warrant-driven activity hopefully gives the full picture.
For our audience, treat every hot claim online with skepticism. Look for local primary reporting and released legal documents summarized by reputable outlets. We've linked and cited those throughout this episode.
Based on credible reporting to date, a green vehicle resembling the long-noted car of interest was found on a property tied to the family. Searches of land and structures tied to the family were conducted with consent. The current owner of at least one searched property was explicitly said to have no connection to the investigation. Cell phones belonging to certain family members were seized pursuant to a warrant. Text messages referenced in warrants prompted further investigative steps.
We're not reporting any forensic conclusions beyond what authorities have said or allowed to be summarized in warrants. If additional lab results or official statements emerge, we'll update them in a future episode.
Tying it back to the Highway 18 sightings near Shelby, the book bag found farther up the corridor, and property and people who may have lived along that route. If an offender lived, worked, or socialized in the area around 2000 to 2001, that could explain both opportunity and concealment.
But the standard remains. Facts first. Warrants denote investigative direction. Discovery of a similar vehicle equals a lead. And denial from the family has to be part of the record. The finish line is evidence that stands up in court or definitively locates Asha. Let us know if you have any theories in the comments. We'd love to hear them.
If you remember a green 1970-style coupe, if you have knowledge of activity on properties later searched, or if you heard statements years ago that didn't make sense, your memory might matter now.
Here's how to help right now. Contact the Cleveland County Sheriff's Office at 704-484-4888 or the FBI Charlotte office at 704-672-6100 or tips.fbi.gov. Send tips by clicking on the Provide Information button on Asha's case page. We'll organize and forward substantive information to authorities. Share this episode with anyone who lived or worked along Highway 18 around 2000 to 2001.
If you're unsure whether a detail is relevant, share it anyway. Even ruling out a lead helps.
To Asha's family and the community, we stand with commitment to facts and care. To our audience, be respectful, be precise, and if you know something, say something.
Thank you so much for joining us in this episode. Until next time, stay safe, stay curious, and stay loud.